Trump is ill. He's
Yeah.
78 years old. He is mentally not put together. It's very clear that he is now turning to Elon Musk to run the administration the
Right.
same way he always turns to some sort of father figure to run things for him.
I am so excited to say good morning to Heather Cox Richardson. I was just telling you off air, Heather, if I could count how many times a loved one has said, "Hey, have you read?" And I go, "Let me guess, Heather Cox Richardson." And they say yes, and somebody will send me one of your pieces. But let's just start at the beginning. What was your reaction? What were you feeling Wednesday? What are you feeling up through now?
My reaction, I think, was mostly sorrow.
Yeah.
The American experiment is a great thing, and the idea of human self-determination is a great thing. And to see it perverted through the disinformation campaigns that we've seen, it's just heartbreaking. I mean, you think of the hundreds of thousands of people who have given their all to protect this country, and to watch people piss it away is just very sad.
Yeah. So interesting. I've been talking about disinformation all week, but Covey tweeted in 2024 that they're eating the cats, they're eating the dogs proves to be more convincing message than lowering the cost of prescription drugs. I mean, I keep saying that, Heather, that had we lost on the issues, like, oh, yeah, okay, people disagree with us on taxes or whatever, we lost on a solid wall of lies that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. And therein, and I have to say, so we don't go down a deep, dark rabbit hole here, that therein to me lies a great deal of hope in that we've seen the same sort of thing in the past where somebody rides to national power on lies, but that's not actually what people want. And you saw this all over the country, the degree to which people backed progressive causes.
Thank
And
you.
the actual election of Trump was not by huge numbers. So the thing that I will look for very eagerly is to see to what degree people hunker down in their states and local governments and really focus on good governance there and figure out new ways to tackle the national government. But of course, with Trump in the national government, it's going to be a very different kind of government than we've ever had before.
Yeah. Rick Wilson tweeted, they're still in the shallow triumphalism phase over in MAGA land. That will be followed by the wait, what phase? Eventually it will enter the I didn't want the leopard to eat my face phase. Strap in. We've already seen this, Heather. The Latino family that voted for Trump that said, oh, well, he's not going to deport our undocumented relatives because they're not criminals. There's the woman that said, oh, well, Obamacare saved my life when I had cancer. Like, he's not going to get rid of that, is he? People Googled what's a tariff after the
Yeah,
election. One
yeah,
of the
yeah, it
big,
spiked. That spiked after the election. What's a tariff? you know,
yeah,
and similarly, labor. The fact that a lot of unionized workers sided with Donald Trump, and the first thing out of the box, he talks about, of course, cutting taxes for the wealthy and corporations,
yeah.
and for destroying the protections for organized labor. And I just don't know what you do other than recognize that there's going to be a lot of hurt going forward. Now, again, one of the things, though, that I think is worth pointing out is that while Rick talks about shallow triumphalism, and absolutely, there is the dysfunction within the Republican Party has not gone away.
Right.
And that is the idea that they're going to be able to do all this efficiently is, I think, worth at least holding as, will with an attitude of we'll wait and see. Because, for example, Trump is ill. He's
Yeah.
78 years old. He is mentally not put together. It's very clear that he is now turning to Elon Musk to run the administration the
Right.
same way he always turns to some sort of father figure to run things for him. But of course, JD Vance is backed by Peter Thiel, and he is theoretically the person who's supposed to be taking over for Donald Trump. And there's been an article out recently saying, he's going to be the most powerful vice president in history, even more than Dick Cheney. And I'm like, oh, come on. Dick Cheney had decades of experience in the government, and JD Vance has been there for 18 months. He's done almost nothing.
Yep.
He's not going to be a hugely powerful vice president. So you're going to see this big fight within the party to run what's going to happen, and I'm not sure that's going to be as smooth as these triumphal narratives are suggesting.
Speaking of JD Vance, you retweeted Caroline, who said, and so it starts. JD Vance says U.S. could drop support for NATO if Europe tries to regulate Elon Musk's platforms. I mean, just that whole sentence alone. And it's interesting you brought up Veterans Day. I can't tell you how many letters I've gotten from veterans that my dad was a Nuremberg prosecutor, Heather. I mean, the people that fought and died to fight fascism that are now like, oh my God. His J.D. Vance said he's America's Hitler. His generals said that. And yet here we are, right?
And yet here we are.
So, by the way, I don't, of all your retweets, this one, Taliban congratulates Americans for not handing leadership of their great country to a woman. Someone retweeted that, and it just, of all of the horrible parts of this election, being a woman today, it's tough, isn't it?
It is. And the thing that I've actually been writing about that Taliban congratulations to the American people, actually not to Trump, but to the American people for guaranteeing they did not put a woman in charge of the United States of America. What's really interesting about writing about that is, again, when Trump was out of power, any suggestion that he had anything to do with the treaty, the Doha Treaty between the U.S. and the Taliban that cut out the Afghan government. That was just anathema. Nobody would hear that. They wanted to blame Joe Biden for it. All of a sudden, people are like, wait, Trump was the one behind that treaty? And again, it's going to be interesting going forward because there's so much that anything you said, disinformation, misinformation, and angry Trump cultists would push back on and scream, no, 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 it's all Biden. Now the Republicans are the ones holding the bag, and that's not a comfortable position to be in when, in fact, your party embraces ideologies that are not popular with the majority of Americans.
Yeah.
So how you square that circle is going to be problematic here at home, but and of course it's going to be devastating overseas. But I think that we are looking at a very a repressive time, a frightening time in many ways, but we're also looking at an extraordinarily choppy time where there isn't going to be a really clear outcome that we can see in the short term where somebody is in fact going to march toward a certain thing. We're going to see cruelty. We're going to see policies that are designed to put in place the things that Project 2025 called for, or that, that Stephen Miller wants, and so on.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of cross cuts that are going to mean extraordinary insecurity because you simply don't know what's going to come next. And that is going to be something we're going to have to be very careful to weather without sort of giving up our hands and saying, oh, we just don't know what's going to happen next, so we quit.
Oh, hey there, it's Stephanie Miller. If you're like me and you love sharp political insight, pointy, you like it pointy and sharp, bold opinions, and a touch of humor to make sense of these crazy times, have I got some fantastic news for you. The Political Voices Network is now on Substack. This is your new go-to for the best in independent media. We're talking about my show streaming daily with episodes on demand, the fearless of journalism of Brian Karem, the brilliant side-splitting satire of John Fugelsang, the unrelenting working class advocacy of Rick Smith, and so much more. Here's the best part. Subscribing is so easy. You can join for free or go to the extra mile. Support these incredible independent voices by signing up for a full subscription starting at just $8. You'll get access to exclusive content, behind-the-scenes insights, and a chance to directly fuel fearless, unfiltered media. So what are you waiting for? Head on over to politicalvoicesnetwork.com. Hit that subscribe button and become part of the movement keeping truth alive in an era of corporate media overload. Every subscription helps, especially yours. One more time, that is politicalvoicesnetwork.com. Sign up now. Do it.